Well, greetings, students. Here's your introduction for week 5. As you go down through the assignment page, you're in the New Testament now and looking at the Gospels. And because these are often the most familiar to us, we may be overlooking some important items or making assumptions and presuppositions that we shouldn't when we come to the Gospels. So this week we want you to evaluate gospel narratives and we want you to critique an interpretation of a parable. You're going to be reading through Klein on the genres of the New Testament, pages 399 through 425. It's not a long reading assignment, but do read it carefully and be sure you're comprehending the concepts involved. This deals with the Gospels and Acts. You're going to be reading Bailey's online article on guidelines for interpreting Jesus' parables. Again, that's about an 11-page item, so read it thoroughly, carefully. Be sure you understand it. Then you've got some links here. One is for the audio and the script of Lecture 13 on interpreting the Gospels. It's an 8-minute audio video. So listen to that and follow through in the script as well. And you will also refer to 2 documents that are attached here, Matthew 8 Parallel Analysis and Literary Forms and Gospels. You've got to be sure you look those over. You will be posting a discussion board this week, so remember all the criteria we've talked about repeatedly on discussion boards. Everything needs to be done in Turabian style in your initial post. You need to cite the scriptures, you need to cite your textbooks in your post as appropriate. And if you cite sources, then of course there should also be a bibliography at the end as well as your footnotes. In the discussion board, you're going to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of interpretations of the prodigal son, and you're going to talk about the manner in which you understand this parable. Now, again, this is all based on Bailey's work and the other items involved above in your reading, viewing, and listening. And then you've got your gospel analysis worksheet, and the steps are laid out in audio lecture 13, I believe, to evaluate Matthew 8. 28 through 28 through 34. So write up your understanding of the passage in no more than 2 double-spaced pages. Now, it's a Turabian formatted paper, so there should be a title page, then your 2 pages explaining the assignment here on your understanding of the passage, and then you would have your bibliography. So it could be 4 pages in length. Now remember, the body of the paper, that is that 2 pages you're writing, should be double-spaced. It should be in Times New Roman 12-point font for the text. Footnotes should be in Times New Roman 10-point font. If you're using Microsoft Word, which you should be for your work, there is a footnote function available for you in that you can use, and it should pretty much do your footnotes correctly. It does not put that extra line of space in between the footnotes. So you need to do that. Make sure your footnotes also are indented on the first line. Make sure your footnote numbers are superscript, but it should do that. But just because there's a function there that does make it somewhat easier, you're still responsible to be sure that it's formatted properly. You can't entirely trust your computer or the software. You're still accountable to be sure your work is done accurately. Well, there you have it. There's your introduction. You've got, again, the Gospel Analysis Worksheet and the discussion. You want to do those after you've done all your reading, viewing, and listening. And this will enable you to evaluate gospel narratives and critique and interpretation of the parable. Enjoy the week's work.